All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're going to talk about Tom Brady's prediction coming true about Stefon Diggs leaving the Buffalo Bills. So I'm looking back now. First it happened when the hats fell. This happened in the second segment. So I'm talking about the trio of wide receivers. So of Diggs, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell, and that's when it ends up happening. So again, I don't have like the exact timestamp, but just go back to that second segment and look for it if you missed it, because that is when the hats just come crashing down on me. And yeah, hopefully nothing else happens. But yeah, let's get into this now for the final part here. A little fun segment here, talking about Tom Brady. So Tom Brady was talking some trash at the match. This was back, when it was him and Aaron Rodgers against Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And at one point, so this is what he said. So this was 2 years ago. So he said, "I've got my boy Mike," meaning Mike Evans, "ready to catch. I don't even know who caught Aaron's. Devontae left him. Tyreek left you, Patrick. Josh, don't worry. Someone's going to leave you too." Now again, playful banter, but it ended up becoming a reality because Stefon Diggs ended up getting traded to the Texans. So now, turns out somebody ended up leaving Josh Allen. And the reason why I wanted to talk about that is just like the other two quarterbacks. Tyreek Hill got traded to the Dolphins, and Davante Adams got traded to the Raiders. And that was all in the same offseason. Those two guys getting traded from two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Now, is Josh Allen a Hall of Famer? Not yet. Does he have that potential? Of course, but he's got to start winning some Super Bowls because Patrick Mahomes already has 3. And it's just, it really is crazy how you had Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill leave. Like, they left Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes to go play with Tua Tagovailoa and Derek Carr. And listen, those two guys still ended up producing. It's not like they weren't going to. But, I mean, well, with Tyreek Hill has played with other quarterbacks besides Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he played with Alex Smith. So we've seen Tyreek Hill play with, without another well, at least another starting quarterback, because Aaron Rodgers has gotten hurt and Davante Adams has had to play with Brent Hundley. That was that year he had to play with Brent Hundley. And actually, that was kind of when Davante Adams, because if you remember, 2015, Packers fans were done with Davante Adams. They really, he just regressed. And then 2016 came around, and Davante started to improve. And then 2017, Rodgers gets hurt, and Davante still produced. And then 2018, continued to break out, and every year after that. And he turned out to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. And I think if he was still with Aaron Rodgers, I would still look at him as the best wide receiver in the NFL. But, now you went from Derek Carr. Again, you put up good numbers with him. Then to Jimmy Garoppolo and Aiden O'Connell. Again, Devontae still produced, but, with the better quarterback, he'd put up better numbers. And he is starting to get older, but he's still producing. It's just crazy how you had those guys leave and leave their Hall of Fame quarterbacks. But it's because they wanted to get paid. Like, Diggs already has his contract. Now, the Texans kind of reworked it so he could become a free agent after this year, I believe. So, again, the Texans, just working their magic. I think it was either after this year or after 2025, but I think it's after this year. Or he could become become a free agent in 2025. So after this year. So, but I think Diggs' situation was a little bit different. But it's funny how Brady said that, and that just ended up happening. And he's like, yeah, my boy Mike didn't leave. No, and listen, Mike Evans could have left Tampa. I mean, this is after Brady retired, of course, but Mike Evans stayed in Tampa. And Aaron Rodgers, I think, missed Davante Adams in 2022 because, he had to try to build up a rapport with Christian Watson, with Romeo Doubs. And the Packers got hot at the end of the season, but what happened? The Lions beat them and knocked them out of the playoffs, basically. And Seattle got in. But listen, Patrick Mahomes doesn't miss Tyreek Hill. Nope. 2 Super Bowls since Tyreek Hill has left. I think Tyreek Hill misses Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes doesn't miss Tyreek Hill. Well, yeah, he doesn't. The receivers dropping passes, that was frustrating, but what happened? They ultimately got back to the Super Bowl and won again. So you know what? No, he doesn't miss him. I think Tyreek Hill misses the Chiefs. And now Diggs, he's in a good situation with the Texans. And if you were to rank the teams that Davante Adams is now on, the Raiders, the Dolphins, and now the Texans with Diggs. I mean, I would put the Texans over. Oh, the Raiders are unfortunately for them, they are going to be ranked last. Dolphins would be second. Texans would be first. Stefon Diggs is in the best spot. And the reason for that is the quarterback. Diggs went from Josh Allen to C.J. Stroud. Now, again, I would still probably rank Josh Allen ahead of C.J. Stroud at the moment, but that could change after this year or after next season. Tyreek Hill went from Patrick Mahomes to Tua Tagovailoa. Again, has put up great numbers with Tua, but that is no offense to Tua, that is a downgrade. And with the Raiders, Davante went from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr and put up good numbers with Derek Carr, and then now they downgrade even further to Jimmy Garoppolo and Aiden O'Connell. And the Texans right now, and roster-wise and where they're at, and the Texans just won a playoff game too. Texans won a playoff game. They've reloaded on defense. I mean, I've talked about them a lot these last couple of shows. So, yeah. Diggs is right now in the best spot. And I think Aaron Rodgers misses Davante because the Jets are trying to get him back for Rodgers. We'll see now with Josh Allen. We know Patrick Mahomes doesn't miss Tyreek Hill. Josh Allen now, let's see what he does without Diggs. And, watching a couple of, TikToks and, other people giving opinions on the Bills right now. I think my stance on it is I don't think the Bills are going to be bad. I think if they are bad, I said this yesterday, then I think you got to say goodbye to Sean McDermott, say goodbye to the general manager. Those guys are gone. But I feel like the Bills are still going to be okay. It's just a lot of subtractions. And they're really going to have to reload through the draft. But I think the Bills got knocked down a peg now with Diggs being out. Now going to the Texans. But that's just me. Again, they got Josh Allen. And getting Diggs really elevated Josh Allen's game. And now with him not there anymore, and just kind of the changes in the offseason with the Bills, I mean, how is that going to impact Josh Allen? We'll see. But I don't think the Bills are going to be a bad team. I think they're going to be okay, but I think the AFC East is wide open right now. So, we'll see. I mean, I think Josh Allen will still put up good numbers, but it's going to be weird. It's going to be interesting. But like I said, we've seen now Rodgers without Davante Adams, at least for a season. Didn't really get to see. Well, he got paired up with Garrett Wilson. We didn't get to see what they could do. We saw what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do without Tyreek Hill. Now we got to see, what is Josh Allen going to be like now without Stefon Diggs. I mean, we did see that, but before, now this is the post Diggs era. How is Josh Allen going to be? We'll have to find out. We'll have to find out. So that's pretty much it for the show for today. Yeah, a very interesting show to say the least. Had a very funny moment with, again, the hats raining down on me while I was doing the show today. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, because again, I have to clean this all up. So we'll get to that after the conclusion of the broadcast here, and then we'll go from there. But I hope everybody has a good weekend. Again, if you felt the earthquake, hopefully everybody's okay. I'm at a loss for words with what happened today, and like I said, there's always something that happens during my show, whether it's camera not working or my dog barking, and now hat avalanche. So, I don't know what else to say, but again, hope everybody has a good weekend. Make sure to tune in for the Final Four for both the men's and women's tournaments in basketball. Watch a lot of baseball. NBA, NHL playoffs coming up. And make sure to tune into our other shows as well. Want to try to, make sure to mention that. Tune into our other shows, get different perspectives on things. Hopefully, in everybody else's shows, they don't have stuff falling on them. Because, I mean, again, thankfully it was my hats and not what's up here. Because, yeah, that wouldn't be good. But I think we're all right. Listen, we thought the offseason, the craziness was over, and then Diggs gets traded. So maybe somebody else gets traded over the weekend. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to keep an eye on that. And we're another week closer to the NFL draft, which we'll finally see what teams do. Teams that need quarterbacks, we'll see what they end up doing. Because, again, there's been a lot of shifting. Drake May, his stock going down. J.J. McCarthy, his stock going up. Now Michael Penix could be a top 10 pick, at least with some people's mock drafts. At least some people see the Giants maybe taking him. So, yeah, it's receivers. Teams need receivers. It's a lot, but that's like I said, that's coming up. So, like I said, we will cover it, and looking forward to that. But we'll see. Maybe another trade happens. So, yeah, with that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again on Monday. And until then, at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So until then, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and have a good weekend, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.